Good morning, NIO fam. It is Laser here with another weekend video analysis. It is January 23rd. It is 9:48 in the morning. I've got my cup of coffee in my hand here, and I'm here to share my analysis on NIO going into next week. Before I begin, I like to start off with a little bit of story time, a little bit of a life in the laser, so you guys can actually hear a little bit more about me than just the technical stocks. I usually take a couple minutes. If you don't want to hear it, you can skip past it. Quick story this week. I injured my shoulder, and I've had an ongoing shoulder impingement that has been on and off actually, and it stops me from really weightlifting and doing bench presses. And I have this device that I purchased online. It was from a doctor. It's called the Roto Reliever. It has, I'll try and picture it. It has a ball and it's hanging on a weight. It looks like a mace, which is like a weapon. Think of like a nunchuck, but except on one end is a handle, but the other end is like a weighted ball, and you're supposed to spin it really fast in a circle, and it strengthens the rotary cuff muscle, which is the muscle that's responsible for your shoulder joint. So I was on my phone, literally looking at NIO, not paying attention, and I had this Roto Reliever in my hand, and I was in my kitchen, and I knocked over the kitchen island light, which was made of glass. So there I was, perfect morning, starting off my normal routine, totally thrown off, and I shattered glass everywhere. It got into the floor, carpet, into my laundry, like on my carpet. I was vacuuming. It was like a whole 2-hour thing. It threw my whole day off. I couldn't help myself but laugh at that situation. Because, it always sucks when you break a glass, and, especially with the little one at home. I had to be extra careful. And I was being extra careful a few days later in my laundry bin, even though I thought I cleared it up. My son actually found like a little sharp shard. He's like, "Oh my God, a glass." And I'm like, "What? I must have missed a piece." But yeah. That is my quick story. And I guess a little story time as well. My son is also sick right now. So it's been kind of tough nights. I haven't been sleeping as great. He's caught a fever. There's a flu season going around. You guys all need to be washing your hands, staying healthy. Surprisingly, I'm still healthy here. And I got my cup of coffee. And it's a Saturday morning. I can't complain. And I'm in Canada. And yeah, this cold weather is brutal. But that's enough about me. Let's dive in. You guys all came here for NIO. So I'm going to actually share a little bit on where I see NIO going into next week. If you're brand new here, we don't just cover NIO. We're going to cover Baba by DJ DK Web. That's what I have here on my watch list. And we'll also touch up on the Seng index as well as the US dollar, which is the Dixie. Usually covering all of that takes between 30 to 45 minutes. So I'll do my best to try and get through it as quick as I can. So where were we last Friday? I'm going to put a little vertical line so I know where we were last Friday. Right there. Wait, was that last Friday? Hang on. No, this was the last Friday. So last Friday we were still in the game here of making higher lows on the 24-hour time frame. And it ended up making a lower low on the velocity. Now, if you recall here, if you missed my last week's video, I said this week was going to be super important. The reason why this week was going to be very, very important, and I'll explain, I'll remind you guys because some of you guys may not remember, was our 200-day moving average last week, as you can see, was just barely holding on to the previous low. It is now broken below the previous low, which is a lower low on the 200-day moving average. The last time we got a lower low on the 200-day moving average was a year ago. You'll see here, and I'll draw another line. I won't use a full straight line. I'll just use the orange line here. You can see it made a lower low. And I remember trading around this time. Everyone was like, "It's going to the moon. It's going." And even at that time, I was staying very positive. And yes, we did. For those that were in NIO, this thing did move 35% from the bottom. Actually, if you wanted to go straight from the bottom, about 36%. And people are like, nope, there's way more. And all of a sudden, and this is right around the Trump tariffs and everything went boom. It just like slammed to the ground. Regardless, it ended up being a short rally. When was the last time before that it made a lower low? Right over here. And what happened? Also, I remember I was actually trading NIO around this time too. You got a good run. This run that happened here was another 38-40% rally. And what happened? It got after it was ended abruptly. It got slammed to the ground. Okay, so that's basically the last two times. Now I'm not going to bore you for the rest of this video and show you, but it pretty much happens every single time. You get like this like backwards J that happens. This backwards J. And I do believe that backwards J is going to be forming actually here. I know it's not the exciting thing that you guys want to hear. Some people might even check out after hearing that. Some people might disagree with me. Some people may want to point me to deliveries. Some people may say, well, you know what? If deliveries are going to be really good, I will say this. This is just what I'm saying. It could be wrong, actually, and maybe deliveries kind of overshoot and things kind of go well. I do say this. If we can assume that this price action is dictated by whales that are controlling the price of the stock, if we just make that assumption for a section that they control the stock price, if deliveries are going to be lined up, and whales, as we all know, love to have, and I'm not making this accusation or claim, but we do know that it has been heard that whales do have insider information. We've heard about these cases before, that if they had insider information that their deliveries are going to be really good, you would assume that they would be more eager to kind of buy up NIO at these prices and push it higher and give it the 200-day moving average break. So what leads? Is it going to be technicals or fundamentals? The thesis behind going strictly with a technical setup is that this is basically the blueprints and the footprints of what the whales are doing. We could see them making their moves, and they're not making very big moves. In fact, they made a really big, fast move to the downwards. And we know the last time what happened, and the time before that it happened actually here. Now, the one good thing that I would say here is it did make a higher high up here on the 200-day moving average, but it didn't change because it did that here too. So I'm going to say with confidence, my bias leans very heavily that the 3-month extended rally is getting pushed out. It's going to get pushed out until the summer, maybe even later. You gotta, but there will be a rally. How much of a rally? Let me actually share this with you. So, if I just come to the left here, the last time it happened, from the very top of the run to the bottom of the run, you'll notice it came up and it almost tested the 50% Fibonacci retracement. So you take the top of the rally, go to the bottom. It basically 512 was like hard resistance. It tried actually a couple times getting above it, couldn't do it, and that was it. It almost got to the 50% Fibonacci. And you can even go to the last time, the year before that. And you got, it tried even, the 0.382 ended up being a tough place to get to. And this one was a worse bounce, actually. This one was a bigger bounce. Maybe we get an even bigger bounce. We get a golden pocket here, okay? So when I do it from here to here, and I look from top to bottom, we got some important, so the 382 is $5.60. The 0.5 is $6. And our golden pocket is between $6.43 and $6.50 approximately. I don't think I got it right down to the penny. If I got right down to the penny, that's where it is. And let me be very clear here for if anyone and maybe some of you guys have checked out here, I do think we're bound for an incoming rally soon. I do think something along the lines of this is coming. Something like this is coming very soon. So for those of you maybe a week or two ago said, oh crap, I should have repositioned or sized better right around here. I missed it. It almost reminds me of what happened over here. And it still kind of gave you that like double top, a higher high, which was 570, 580. And I pretty much put the levels in zones where I can expect it. Look where that golden pocket will take you. It takes you right around here at 6, potentially 650, right around the zone. So, I mean, it's trying to nail where this thing will meet resistance. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be guaranteed, you guys. I could be wrong on this, but that's my bias. And until I see otherwise. And so let's just go ahead and say, okay, we're going to try and retest this trend line resistance over the next, few weeks. Let's see. At the end of January, where would that take us? I guess we got like, we got one more week of January. Could it do that? I mean, it's a possibility. So 650. NIO tends to move a lot slower. So around the $6 range, and what that would look like, however the space wants to form, is you would get this, and this is the part that I guess people are asking, well, what next? Will it be a April tariff news again, and will it crash again like that? I don't think so, but it is something that we're going to have to watch very carefully. What I think will be more likely, and what I really want, is I want this base to hold here. I want a bottom to hold here. And you kind of get another little slower base, something along the lines of this. And I know some of you have been following me. You're like, well, what about the resistance that you were talking about, like that got left behind right over here? Yeah, I still am totally on board with that. I'm still have so much conviction that this thing. I just think that when it runs, it'll run way higher. It'll run way higher. I truly believe that thing's going to run way higher. And then when I look at this is kind of more in line with what I'm thinking. And this would be a really good scenario. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to hold down here. It might push lower. In fact, here's probably the best way for you to visualize it. If you guys are visual and maybe these arrows are not really doing it for you, this is probably the best way you can visualize this. I'm just going to erase all the drawings. I hate a messy chart. So bars and patterns. So there it is. If this is all playing out, and notice, pay attention to here and here, okay? I'm going to try and line that up as best as I can. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's never meant to be perfect. And neither is this. This is not meant to be perfect either, okay? But this is just to give you an idea, at least even up until this point, of where you would actually expect a move to make. So this is your lower high. Lower, I can't even write. And your dead cat bounce. I'll just call it a DC. Your dead cat, DCB, your dead cat bounce. This is what I mean by a dead cat bounce, a lower high. You do get a move, but it's it's not quite the same. Now, I don't think it's going to be quite, exactly like this, but it's really looking. This is my bias, you guys. And the beautiful thing here that I think is going to happen. Let's see if it does this. It doesn't even have to. Okay. Let's erase everything here. Look, from here to here was 4 months. From the dead cat bounce to when the rally started was 4 months. So if we run, let's just say if we run all the way into the end of January, because I'm going to tell you why I think it's going to start running really soon. But if we run, let's just say, and I'll give it a couple more weeks actually here. Let's just say, what is February OPEX? Probably third week of February, right there, February 20th. So if we run there, there's your date. That's maybe a guesstimation. And you have June 22nd. If it was like roughly the same thing, it would be like this. Come up. You get another little bounce. Doesn't that actually look like a pretty decent chart? Now, I'm just trying to give you an example of a price action because I don't actually. The reason I drew it out like this, just so you understand, is, and I could have drawn it. Let me see if I can just move this out the way. Yeah, I could have drawn it like this, up, straight down, and one. Nothing goes straight down for 3 months. Which is, I don't think any stock will go down straight for 3 months in a row. But even NIO doesn't. I mean, while it does feel like it went straight down for 3 months, there's bounces along the way. So I think you'll get that bounce, like a midterm bounce, maybe, I don't know how quite a high, and then it'll go. So when I talked about maybe like a couple of weeks ago, NIO's set up for a 3-month rally, similar to what we saw here. Rather than it happening over here, it's going to happen here now. Why? Maybe somebody asking like, why does it have to happen in June? Why do I have to wait? Well, I mean, first and foremost, I don't even think that's that long. Time flies so freaking fast. You blink and the day is over. You blink, the week flies by. Weeks are like going by days. I mean, maybe that's just me, but time goes by very quickly, you guys. That's going to fly fast. And we'll be talking about this before you even know it. But the reason why is this is our lower low on our velocity. And if it makes a lower low, which it already did, it made a low low. It made a lower low. What I would anticipate, and I should make this yellow so you guys can follow along. For those of you that can't quite visualize that nicely, there we go, yellow. This is my projected 200-day moving average on the velocity. And then I'll change the color to white. And I hope this paints the picture as to how I see it. And then if you come take a look, let's just say we get a rally here. I don't know, maybe it comes up. And then you get that big, like, kind of drop and something along those lines, okay? Let's erase some of the mess. I'll erase this. I'll erase that. I'll erase the mess here. I'll make it go full screen. And now you'll notice that this run couldn't have been it because it did it on a lower low. I mean, maybe it could. I've seen it in the past before. In fact, and we're going to look at it next. If we go to BABA over here made a lower low on the 200-day moving average. Right there. Let's see. So BABA did make a lower low on the 200-day moving average, but it still pushed out higher. I was totally proven wrong. Totally. BABA pushed out and defied those logic. Specifically for NIO, in the past experience when I've seen it, NIO tends to kind of do something different. It does its own patterns. Now, again, take everything with a grain of salt. I'm not telling you to do anything. There's different strategies and different approaches. But if we do get like a similar move that happened last year. If you knew this in advance, you'd probably want to strategize. You'd want to have a different strategy. Your strategy changes. I mean, absolutely. I know. If you're a long-term investor, your strategy doesn't change. But if you're a swing trader or you're someone who likes to take advantage of time, you have a different strategy, a different approach. I don't know what you. I mean, someone's strategy, if they're a swing trader, maybe might shave profits on the run. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but that might be one strategy. Another strategy could be, playing with options, getting puts to cover you if that's the case. I mean, there's multiple different strategies that you can do, or you can just do nothing. The simplest strategy is buy and hold. Can't go wrong with something like that either. But if people knew that this was going to be the move, a lot of people jump in and join NIO and think it's going to be the next big one. And if they had known, or if there was signs, just like there was with the lower 200 moving average that pointed to a lower high, dead cat moving average, people could have positioned differently and changed differently. Now, maybe if it tries to do it again, and people, like a lot of retail, start trying, jumping in and getting out before the whales do it, maybe the whales push it up. I mean, I don't know. All you can do is you could make a good guess. So let's just say you get it wrong. You got to realize that. What if you're wrong? What if it does go up? What if it goes up and it does what Baba did? Well, and you shave profits here. Okay, you said, I think that's going to be the top here, and I'm going to take profits, and you screw up, and it kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going, and it goes to 12. Do you like chase it and get back in and be like, I screwed up, I want to buy, and your average is now like 8 or it's like 9, you're chasing this thing up? A strategy, I think, that you would consider to do, and I'll bring you to Baba real quick here, is, well, what happened after it made new highs? Okay, it still reset and came back down. It still came back down and gave you a chance to get back in. And this is its higher low that it's forming. And so you would have an opportunity to still get in on the play. You would just be like, imagine you sold right there. I'm selling right there. You missed like this big move, an additional 40%, which is, it's crazy. You would always have that opportunity to kind of get back in. And that would be like your responsible time to kind of get back in. And Baba looks ready and poised to kind of make a big move. So that's again, I can't tell you guys how to trade. I'm just letting you know. There's different strategies and approaches to pay based off what we expect. And my bias leans very heavily that this is going to be a lower high dead cat bounce. And then this big 3-month rally that we saw previously, it won't happen until at least the summer of this year. You want to know something else? We still haven't gotten the break above the 200-day moving average. So if people are like, did we even miss the move? What if it doesn't even run? What if it just goes straight down? I don't think so. I think at some point in time, we're going to break above that 200-day moving average. In fact, as soon as I think even Monday of next week. The reason why I think Monday is going to be very, 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 very big and important. Now, I don't want to set expectations, but I think there's a potential here for Monday. We can start seeing this thing start giving us the move. What do we see here in the 4 hours? So we're going to go and review the 4-hour time frame. This is kind of a shorter time window. It gives us a little bit more candles, a little more data. What do we have, by the way, here on the 4-hour time frame? I talked about it last week. The harmonic, where you had the higher low, the left shoulder, the head, the inverted head, by the way, and now the right shoulder. That's an inverted shoulder on the harmonics. But more importantly, when I look to the 4-hour time frame, everything looks super bullish. If I look at that 4-hour time frame, it made a higher high. It's set up and it broke above the 200 moving average, and now it's set up to make a higher low. So long as you get like another reversal, as long as it bounces here, it'll give you another higher low, and we could start moving and getting a big move that's actually ready to set up. Like it's making higher highs and setting up for a higher low. I go to the 1 hour time frame. Our 200-day moving average has finally broken above the. Let's use a new arrow here. It's finally broken above the midline. That big move we saw last week up to 490. It's kind of reset. It's still said making higher lows, but you can see the velocity broke back below 200-day moving average. Once it and I want to kind of point out a picture here. When it reset here last week or the week before that on the 16th, and then on Tuesday when the market opened, you had that really big gap down. Wait, when did it flip? It wasn't until Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. How long was it? Basically from here to here. It was able to make a higher low. Made a higher low. It was signaling it's kind of ready to go on the 1 hour, and it was able to bounce. And during that exact same time on the 4 hours, our 4 hours made a higher low as well, which was freaking awesome. Like you got now the 2 time frames syncing up. But here's where things screwed up here for NIO. The 24-hour time frame was screwed up because it made a lower low. We want our 24 hours to make a higher low. So this most recent move to 480 allowed it to make a higher high here. We already got that one red day. To me, that's already enough to make a... I don't know why it's squiggly like that. It's weird. Maybe I'm too zoomed in. Anyways, it's squiggling. I don't know why my... I swear I could draw a lot more smoother than that. That higher... when that's what's going to make this move different is it's now all aligned. The 24-hour time frame aligned, 4-hour time frame aligned, 1 hour time frame aligned. Now the 1 hour we still haven't gotten the higher low. Now the higher low I do believe is actually is it could potentially happen as soon as Monday. I don't want to set like the timeline and say Monday it's going to rock it, but I will be watching it and I will see that. You'll notice the hourly still has a lower low. It's kind of still resetting here, but it looks kind of healthy. It looks decent. If you get any kind of like gap up days on pre-market, even a slight gap up like that, any type of gap up will be enough to flip this thing back around. It won't take much for this thing to light a fuse and start the rally. Now the rally again is it's a different type of rally. I can't be more clear about that. Is my expectation. It doesn't mean it should be your expectation. It's okay to be different. It's okay to actually think that I'm wrong and that fundamentals are more improved and I got this wrong, and I may be wrong. But if you set if you're conservative with your expectations, you're setting yourself up to not be disappointed. So again, 559 is a 0.382, 599. Am I actually doing that right? Yeah, I am. So between 550 and 650, those are like areas that we have to watch. We know 559 was something that it just couldn't break. And it was actually 550 is a historical, like really, really big Fibonacci level as well from the overall Fib level. So that is something that you guys need to keep an eye on. Just watch it. I think NIO is worth watching very, very closely Monday and Tuesday. I think we're going to start that move. And I want to just jump real quick. I did this last time, but I'll point here. BABA gave you a break already above the 200-day moving average. So did Baidu. So did JD. So did KWeb. All of them. NIO lagging behind. Another reason why I think it's going to be lower high dead cat bounce, but I do think there's going to be that bounce. And it reminds me of what happened here so much. NIO is lagging so bad. Let me see. What was the date on that? Right around February 12th. February 12th. Let's go back. Where is February 12th of last year? It was right here. Okay. And BABA broke above the 200-day moving average. And Baba twice actually made a lower low and still kind of just went vertical. But Baba has a history of just constantly just going completely vertical. Where am I going now? I think I pretty much summed up my analysis. Oh, lastly, I am watching this. Did it even touch that? Did it touch it? Let's see. I mean, you can argue that it touched this. I don't think so. It's almost. Let's switch it to regular. There is an important Fibonacci level right around 430, 420. So maybe you get that one glitch candle that comes down, it touches it, and then you get that violent bounce and things go. Something like that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We're going to have to cross those bridges as we get there. But yes, I am expecting NIO to move up very soon. Very soon. And I'm eyeing these major Fibonacci levels actually here because I'm anticipating a lower high. I think you'll get at least. Did I do that right? Again? Yeah, I did that wrong. I'm expecting $5.56, $5.90. It's a lower high dead cat bounce. These are not big numbers. I know they're not big numbers, but this is kind of the zones that I'm watching. I'm watching these zones. And I do think that we're going to actually, we're going to test these levels here. Most likely level to test is 597, a really healthy level 650, and maybe deliveries, overshoot, and you still see 7. That would be on the best case scenario, but I still think there's going to be that drop, the following drop. We'll have to watch it and see how it goes. I'm going to quickly, that pretty much sums up my analysis for NIO. I'm going to go and look at Baba, Baidu, JDK Web, and we're going to move on actually here. I have this drawn out for Baba as how things might kind of like stabilize here, and it looks like it's just going here. It actually gave us the higher low. Things are very, very, very bullish on that 24-hour time frame. It's already gotten that higher low and the break above the 200-day moving average. Things are looking good. You can see the last time Baba did that was right here, and it just moved. The 4-hour time frame, ooh, is that a lower high? Okay, Baba is at an interesting spot on the 4-hour time frame. It put in just a very interesting spot. I'm just going to delete this. It put in a lower high here. It might potentially try and do a big, big reset, which would not surprise me because that's exactly kind of what happened here. Even though it was ready, it took a couple. It took this zone of consolidation before it gone. So the 4 hours is showing signs of a potential reset here of a lower high. It's definitely not something you want to ignore. It was, and even though the price, that's basically buyers are tapped out here. This could very well be like, you could see a big drop and then it's trying to reset. Actually, I could be wrong. It could also get a higher. It could also signal a higher low. So when you go to the hourly, yeah, the hourly. When I look at the hourly, it looks okay. It's totally resetting. Lower high, lower low. It's looking like it wants to come lower. I don't know. Overall, bigger time frames. I think Baba's really, really far away from where it actually can go, but there could be a little bit of choppiness going into next week. Baidu just made a higher high. Baidu is the leader. If you guys don't already know, like, come on, Baidu is almost more than Baba now. You can see I have this drawn out, and it just made a higher high. So bullish on the 24-hour time frame, 4-hour time frame, almost setting up for a higher low. So it's looking for that higher low on the 1 hour, and it's coming down just like the rest of China. All of China was red on Friday. So Baidu it still remains on my top list of one of the best Chinese names. JD, JD is going to come down next week. You can see it's making a lower high. It looks like it wants to reset on the 1 hour. 4 hour also. I made a higher high and a break above. This was a lower low on the 200-day moving average. So it's likely, yeah, JD will. I think JD is probably one of the weaker names. Not that it's a bad name, but I think it's going to take a little bit more time. And it will eventually get a big move. But notice, even here, when you had a break above the 200-day moving average like it did over here, it still kind of danced quite a bit before it was ready. It wasn't until here that it gave you a higher low. And it was signaling like, hey, it's getting ready. Consolidation, and then it launched it. Something similar that I'm anticipating for JD. KWeb. KWeb is, honestly, KWeb is actually a little bit further along than NIO on the cycle, but it made the lower low. So it'll be very interesting. I think KWeb and NIO are going to be very, very, very similar in that manner. Now that you have that lower low, it broke above, it made a lower low. So KWeb looks weak to me on that 24-hour time frame because, look, it made a lower low here. It's even weaker than, in my opinion, it doesn't look as ready as NIO does. And I don't think the top is in for KWeb. I definitely think, the $38 could still be a level of where you can expect this thing. Did I do that right? I don't think I did that right. $39. 4 hours. Oh, yeah. 4 hours it's still resetting. It's below. Is 1 hour good to go? Yeah. Not quite. It made a lower low here. So KWeb's I think KWeb's coming down. So there's not like, when I look at all the Chinese names, Baba, Baidu, JD, KWeb, I don't see anything that looks, other with the exception of Baidu. Okay, Baidu I think is the leader. I don't see anything that really strikes me as like, man, this is going to be a huge pump. Now let's see if the Hang Seng Index also agrees with me. So I'm going to go to the Hang Seng Index. We're going to go to the 24-hour time frame. Interesting. So it looks good, the Hang Seng Index. It looks good. What do I like about this Hang Seng Index? Look, higher high, higher low. So it remains bullish. It remains very bullish. The 4-hour time frame, I think it was reset last week. So it reset, it came down. It actually already gave you that pullback here. And you can see, gave a higher low here, a higher high, and it's going to give a high. Yeah, it looks ready to go. Hang Seng looks great. I like Hang Seng quite a bit. On the 1 hour and the 1 hour, okay, that's very interesting. Higher lows, higher highs. Yeah, that's beautiful. You can argue that's a lower low. If you said, okay, it tried to make a low here, it failed, then it made a lower low. Okay. I don't know if I want to do a really deep dive here. It could. What I do see here on the hourly, which would hurt the case that it's going to run next week, is we got a lower low on the 200-day moving average. That means it needs to make a higher low. That means you're going to get a full-on reset of the hourly before it goes. So you could see one more leg drop. One more drop lower. That goes in line with what I see with like Baba, JD, KWeb, and even Baidu. You could see that. What we're hoping on here is NIO, because it's just like lagging, will have that chance to kind of move on its cycle, actually. I do think there's a chance for Monday for NIO. We want to be watching that very closely. Look at that US dollar. Oh my goodness. That's a really large drop. Very large drop. And it's no surprise stock markets it bounced and it pushed right up. 24-hour time frame. That is interesting. Did it actually break above? I think it did. Did it break above here? It did. Oh, it didn't break above. Okay. Look, it didn't give you the break. And now it's making lower lows on the price. Wow. That was a big move, by the way. Really big move. But to be honest, if it actually holds, now we talked about this. I said this whole move hasn't given you a pullback, and it's giving you that pullback. If it makes a higher low right over here, if it comes down and it makes that higher low, it would be a bullish divergence. 4 hour, okay, 4 hours is making lower lows. So we're still a long ways before it needs to, you need to see a big bounce. It needs to come back down. It needs to give us that higher low on the 4 hours for the US dollar. And it will. It absolutely will. But it might not do that until it reaches lower here. What, like 96? It'll reach 96. This is important, you guys. The US dollar is very important. It's got this 1 year base. And when this thing finishes this base, when we see this move, it's going to be one of those like defining moments in the stock market where things shift completely. I mean, we're already seeing that with like the prices of gold and silver kind of going sky high. But the US dollar is also a major, major thing that I've been tracking, and I do believe that this will resolve. So far, that because it's going down, that's a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. Let's see how the rest of next week goes. By the way, if you guys missed, if you're not already following me on Twitter, I made a post early in the week that I launched a Discord channel. There's about 100 members who joined, or 100 plus members who joined within the last week. I'm going to post a link in the description below. And I've been posting my daily updates. So for a lot of people who are like watching this NIO update, or who are in the Discord channel and they're hearing it for the first time, or they're not hearing it, they're hearing it. They wouldn't be surprised with a lot of these updates because I've been actually trying to post these daily updates on Discord. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I love the stock. I love NIO. I love the community. I've always wanted to provide like daily updates and do that on a Discord channel. I finally did that. It's a free Discord. You guys are welcome to join. You can join with your web browser, or you can just download the app if it's more of a cleaner app, the Discord app. You can get it on Apple or Google. I'm not going to force you guys to join, but if you guys want to engage, ask questions, there's been tons of people asking questions. Definitely check it out. Come swing by. The link will be in the description below. Having said all that, that kind of wraps up my video. It's 10:30 in the morning here. I think this video is too long. My coffee is ice cold. I forgot to drink it. Jeez. As always, guys, please stay safe, be healthy, have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back again next week to update and share where things are going. If there's any questions, drop it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, smash the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.